Channel Japan. I'm Makia Rai.
And I'm Makiko Tsuda.
Every week we bring you the freshest information right here from the studio here in Tokyo.
From the economy to culture and even foods, if you want to find out what's happening in Japan right now, this is where you'll find it.
These are our topics for today.
In Executive Insight, we speak with the head of a cold beverage maker locked in fierce competition with rivals.
Marketing high-end Japanese beef and Japanese food culture as a single package.
Turning the growing number of vacant homes in prefectural cities into a springboard for local revitalization.
And a craftsman who channels sunlight into the entire room. So let's get started. We want to first show you a clip of an experiment on the future of restaurants.
Yes, now a restaurant has been open for a limited time in Tokyo, which they say gives customers a glimpse of the future. And we have a video of it, so let's take a look.
Oh, there appears to be some kind of image on the table. Oh, nice. And a menu.
Yes, you're right. It's actually a new concept for a menu, a digital one as opposed to the physical ones that we often see in restaurants. And it's even possible to beam your order onto a big screen from a tablet.
This is fun.
Isn't it?
It really does look interactive and fun. And I see they're also wearing something like Google Glass? What's that for?
Well, they say it allows you to choose your order with just the movement of your eyes.
Eyes?
Very little effort when choosing what you want to eat.
Amazing, isn't it?
And this one is for the restaurant staff, and they can store data on regular customers, and when those customers visit, the device will recognize their faces and bring up their information on a tablet device.
That's really helpful in making sure that even a new server takes care of repeat guests properly.
It's attached to your head and frees up your hands. Even if you're busy carrying an order to a table, you'll be able to spot repeat customers and provide quality service.
And another service is these two men here are actually
are they
waving
doing?
their hands over a sensor on the table, and a server appears on the ceiling.
I'd like a soda and a pancake.
Right away.
I don't know about this one. I feel it would be faster to ask the staff directly.
Maybe.
But I guess it's kind of fun for the customers. But why did they decide to open this type of restaurant?
Well, actually, it's the idea of an internet marketing company, and it was open for a limited time, so it's no longer there. But the aim was to allow their research group to test out the practicality of these wearable devices.
Since the emergence of smartphones, we're shifting rapidly into services for smart devices. So we need to keep researching the market by testing out uses for new devices. Of course, this rapid shift doesn't mean that services for wearable devices will be commercialized in the next 3 months or even half a year.
So it may not be practical at the moment, but they hope to continue these experiments to find out how these devices can be used and also find out the challenges when heading towards commercialization.
And I'm sure if this was a permanent restaurant, it would attract a lot of overseas tourists as well.
That's true.
Now, moving on to Executive Insight. What's the topic this time?
Yes, this time we'll be looking at the cold beverage market. Now, let me ask you, how many types of cold beverages do you think are on the market in Japan today?
Well, I know that there's a lot. So I would say 1,000, somewhere around 1,000.
1,000, I would say so too, but we have the answer here. This is data from 2012, and in that year, 5,877 types of cold beverages were put on sale.
That's a lot more than I imagined.
Too. And in the same year, this many new products came onto the market, 897.
That many new types of drinks. That's almost like 2 to 3 new types a day.
You're right, yes. And it actually includes drinks that were reintroduced and brands that come in different packaging and sizes. But on average, nearly 1,000 new products come onto the Japanese market every year.
Well, I do see a lot of new drinks every time I go to the supermarket or convenience stores. And I end up buying them just to see how they taste
Me
like.
too, I do that a lot. And then also a breakdown of new beverages in 2012 shows that by number, coffee drinks are the most popular, followed by juice and soda. There are also health drinks and seasonal beverages. So in all, a lot of different product concepts are out there.
So how big is the market?
Well, it depends a lot on the weather, but in 2013, the hot summer weather helped push up demand, and production was at a record high for the fourth year in a row, as you can see over here. So this time we speak to the president of Suntory Beverage and Food, Nobuhiro Tori, about the fierce competition brewing in the cold beverage market. So take a look.
Executive Insight. Thirst-quenching cold beverages. They're readily available in supermarkets and convenience stores, as well as from vending machines. Nationwide, there are 2.2 million vending machines stocked with cold drinks. A range of products is offered by several different companies. Cold beverage makers in Japan face fierce competition. It's said that on average, only 3 of 1,000 newly launched products stay on the market. To survive, companies must be nimble enough to respond to rapidly changing trends and the fickle needs of consumers. One of the top manufacturers in this cutthroat industry is Suntory Beverage and Food. President Nobuhiro Tori explains the company's strategy to beat back rivals.
With the domestic market facing slowing population growth and intensifying competition, what are the company's strengths in continually coming up with hit products and increasing sales?
I believe our biggest strength domestically is that we handle everything from development to delivering the product into the hands of the consumer.
In terms of product development, does the advantage come from the group company Suntory Holdings?
Suntory started out as an alcoholic drinks maker, so it has very strong development capabilities in beverage-related technology. We're dealing in beverages, so it's not as if we're doing something very difficult, but they still have to be tasty. No matter how hard we try to convince consumers that a drink is good for their health, they won't drink it if it doesn't taste good.
The company has created numerous hit products across categories, including soda, coffee, tea, and mineral water. Among them is Tokucha, a tea drink launched last October that has seen a sharp rise in sales. It is designated as Tokuho, or a special health food by the government. Only products that undergo scientific tests to prove they have measurable health benefits are permitted to use the label.
There are many teas designated as Tokuho on the market now. What is your product's biggest selling point?
The taste. It's not just about Tokuho. Fundamentally, taste is the most important aspect. If it tastes good, people will drink it. A product has to be good for your health and tasty. If something is just good for your health, then people won't continue drinking it. You have to have the technology, capture the needs of customers, create something tasty, and deliver it to customers. You need all of those elements.
There are currently several types of Tokuho drinks on the market in Japan. They are advertised as having various health benefits, such as preventing fat absorption, promoting fat burning, and combating high blood pressure. Tokuho-type green teas are especially popular as they are said to help burn fat. But because of the high catechin content, many are bitter tasting, turning off some consumers. With Tokucha, The company based it on the brand and taste of an existing tea drink called Iemon to appeal to a wide segment of consumers.
Are you encouraging more investment to develop new areas of the market?
Our brand is our business, and continuing to develop it is something we need to do. It's not that complicated. We believe branded products have added value. We're not a private label brand, after all. We're a proper brand. The brand itself is the value. The important thing is to be constantly aware of what customers want and deliver a product that will delight them.
Taste, branding, and the added benefit of burning fat. Playing a major role in the development of this product were the research and development capabilities built up by Suntory. Project leader Junichi Nakamura explains.
The active ingredient in Tokacha is quercetin glycoside. Quercetin is a type of polyphenol contained in plants. There are relatively high concentrations in onions and broccoli. Suntory has been focusing on research of polyphenols, such as those in red wine or whiskey. Among the many plant-based polyphenols, quercetin has been found to have various benefits. So, we felt that there could be many uses for it. Our research into quercetin was one factor that led to the product.
Suntory started by focusing on the fat-burning effects of quercetin. But the development process was not always easy.
To get the Tokaho designation, we had to collect and submit various test data. In addition to data on its effectiveness for humans, we prepared other data showing that it worked in test tube and animal trials, and also had to prove that it's safe. Even after we submitted the application, various independent experts did their own tests before we were finally approved. We spent a long time on research before we could turn this into a product.
It took 7 years to develop Tokacha. The fat-burning effect and easy-to-drink taste had an immediate appeal for consumers. 3 million cases were shipped in the first 8 months of its launch, putting it among the ranks of the company's many hit products.
What's your vision for the domestic market over the longer term?
The domestic market is still growing. The population is peaking, but there are still many people who mostly drink tap water. Public awareness is growing about the importance of drinking liquids to prevent heat stroke. So, I believe the market has plenty of room to grow.
Your goal is $20 billion in sales. How much will that be from overseas?
The population in Asia is growing, incomes as well. The growth rate of the market is high, so we have to grow in tandem. I believe that's something we need to achieve.
I see a range of products for Japan and for overseas. Which ones are aimed at international markets?
We sell our oolong tea in Asia, so this is one product we need to make sure continues to grow there.
It says T+, Japanese quality. It has a refreshing aroma.
Our strength is supposed to be in tea. It's important to strike a balance between our strength and market demand.
I understand that right now you sell products geared towards local tastes. How have sales been?
That's not something we really think about. We believe it's better to go into a market with the spirit of creating a new beverage category. Rather than putting out a product for a particular market, We want to be product-oriented. Asia is a market that will continue expanding. So, we would like to introduce products derived from our development capabilities as quickly as possible. It's crucial for us to create new categories.
You've adopted a strategy of joint ventures. In that sense, are you still in the development stage?
Our sales structure is already in place, so the question now is identifying the products we want to sell and the consumer. We want to speed up this process, putting out a range of products and dropping them without hesitation if they don't sell. For those that have potential, we'll invest more. We have to speed up this cycle.
Will investment play a major role in Asia in areas other than tea?
I can't say for sure. We won't know until we do it.
So even if the potential is unclear, you'll introduce products and choose along the way.
We believe that's the best way.
The company is also undertaking other strategies. My Bottle Drink Drop is a new beverage style being offered by Suntory and Thermos. A specialized pod developed with Thermos is being sold at 7-Eleven convenience stores. Unlike ready-made beverages in plastic bottles, drinks can be made on the spot and the taste and flavor adjusted according to individual preferences. So what kind of consumer is this product targeting?
At convenience stores, you can buy freshly brewed coffee at the counter, canned coffee, and a variety of drinks. My Bottle Drink Drop is seeing sales grow, especially among women. In terms of the time of day, sales of fresh coffee are brisk from the morning to the afternoon. In contrast, Drink Drop sales increase from late afternoon. The sales trend is extremely distinct. Relatively speaking, more men shop in convenience stores than women. So by introducing something like the Drink Drop that women like, we believe it will have the effect of drawing in more women customers. Creating new categories and products can be a gamble, as you don't know what will be a hit with consumers. Do you still believe that it's important to continually do something new?
Take the water bottle, for example, the one made by Thermos. There's definite consumer demand for that. We add our own little twist and deliver that to customers.
How are sales?
The sales channel is limited, so the numbers aren't substantial, but the feedback on the taste is extremely positive.
So it's about the taste.
Would you drink something that's not tasty?
I thought style was a big factor.
And the taste. Quality first is a concept that the Suntory Group consistently places the greatest importance on. By continuing to create products that are tasty, we can get customers to drink them. The question is whether we can deliver a taste that customers want. Tastes change over time. It's important to study what customers demand and get our development team to create a corresponding product.
Do you want to exceed expectations?
There's no point becoming overambitious.
As summer approaches, competition in the cold beverage market is heating up. Can the company satisfy the changing tastes of consumers?
I see. So in the end, it's about taste. So I guess that's why they're so confident in their product R&D.
You may be right. Also, have you noticed that the labels on plastic bottles are easier to peel off recently? And it's because it's easier to separate the waste and to recycle the material.
Come to think of it, I think you're right.
And it's one of the initiatives of the industry called 3R, meaning reduce, reuse and recycle. And the aim is to use as few resources as possible to make the packaging, and they've actually reduced the materials by 10.5%.
I think you're right. They do seem lighter, and you can crush them easily, like this.
Even for you, you can get it that flat, so anyone can do that. Now, another thing is they also maintain a very high standards in terms of recycling and technological advancements, plus growing environmental awareness among the public, including separating waste, such as paper and plastic, are contributing to better recycling practices.
So many countries are starting to take recycling more seriously. So what's the situation globally?
Well, we have a graph over here. For example, in Europe, the collection rate for used plastic bottles in 2011 was about 50%. Here in the US, it was about 30%, and in Japan, it was nearly 80%, so it's quite high. And what's more, there are relatively few countries that set industry-wide numerical targets like Japan, so you could say the movement to reduce, reuse, and recycle in Japan is quite advanced.
I see. Well, after the break, an episode from TV Tokyo's World Business Satellite.
Mitsui & Company.
Mitsubishi Electric is helping to change the environment for the better around the world.
Green subway systems in India.
Green solar power systems in Singapore.
Sistem AC ramah lingkungan di Indonesia.
Eco changes for a greener tomorrow. Mitsubishi Electric.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could do this? We make things like this possible through the power of chemistry. We're the Kaiteki company, Mitsubishi Chemical Holdings.
Asia, the engine of the global economy. Japan, a regional powerhouse. And now, direct from Japan, economic news with a global impact in Chinese, delivered by Nikkei. Read the future, lead the economy. Nikkei, Japan's leading media for business.
You're watching Channel Japan. Next, we have a report from TV Tokyo's World Business Satellite.
Our topic is Japanese beef, or Wagyu. And if you go to the meat section in supermarkets or department stores, you'll see a whole range of different beef.
I know. Wagyu, domestic beef, imported beef, Japanese black kettle beef, and beef from different regions in Japan. And I know there's also a big range in prices as well.
Yes, there are. And it can be a bit confusing at times, I think. But the market is largely divided into two categories, and one is imported beef, which means beef from cattle born, bred and processed overseas. And the other is beef from cows imported but bred in Japan, and Wagyu.
I wasn't aware that there was a difference between domestic beef and Wagyu.
Yes, there is. According to definitions used in Japan, domestic cattle are those born abroad but raised in Japan or crossbreeds. We have a chart over here. And Wagyu over here refers to cattle that's descended from an ancient domestic breeds such as Japanese black or Japanese brown. A few others.
Well, I love the taste of Japanese black cattle beef.
I do too. And the main characteristic of Wagyu is said to be the fine texture and tenderness, and Wagyu is considered one of the best tasting beef in Japan as well as overseas.
I'm not surprised. Well, so there's a clear difference in the definition and taste between Wagyu and domestic beef.
Yes, that's right. And now there's a move to actually promote this Japanese beef and Japanese food culture as a package, so take a look.
Beverly Hills, an upscale residential neighborhood in Los Angeles. Early this April, a new restaurant opened its doors.
Welcome to Beverly Hills. The most successful location will be here. We wish him a lot of luck.
On the outside, the logo of Japan's National Federation of Agricultural Cooperative Associations. This is their first directly operated outlet overseas.
Very good. Oishi.
Their specialty is fusion cuisine using Wagyu, or Japanese beef. The aim is to market high-end Japanese beef to affluent consumers. Only meat processed in factories certified by the Japanese government can be exported. This is one of them, operated by Zenno, the National Federation of Agricultural Cooperative Associations, which is authorized to export beef to the United States. The meat served in Beverly Hills is also processed here.
This is beef bound for Canada, our new export market.
Beef for export slides into the processing area one after another. It is swiftly carved with a knife.
Seven, but mainly the US, Canada, Hong Kong, and Singapore.
The bones and extra fat are removed, and the meat is carved by section. But only specific cuts are exported abroad.
Only sirloin and tenderloin. In Japan, beef is used in a variety of dishes like shabu shabu and sukiyaki. But overseas, a lot of beef is eaten as steak.
Only the sirloin and tenderloin sections will be exported. Round cuts and others will be packaged for domestic consumers.
Only about 20% of the cuts are exported. Once we're able to export everything, our cost structure will improve.
By entering the U.S. market, Zenno is also aiming to propose new ways of eating beef. They recreated the menu in Beverly Hills at their restaurant in Tokyo.
These are our specialties: earthenware grilled Wagyu and seared Wagyu.
Every dish costs about $18 per ounce of beef, more than 10 times local prices.
In Japan, it's equivalent to about $60 for 100 grams.
By using different cooking ware and preparation methods, they hope to propose new ways of eating beef other than steak. They're also trying something else.
Only cuts for steak, such as beef loin and tenderloin, are in demand. But with thin slices of round meat, you can make shabu-shabu and sukiyaki. We're doing local demonstrations to increase exports of other cuts, such as round, chuck, and loin.
These events are aimed at teaching consumers in the U.S. and other overseas markets the ins and outs of different carving and cooking methods. Prior to the U.S., they held a demonstration in Hong Kong, inviting chefs from grilled beef restaurants across town. They explained how to carve and eat each section.
Cut this in half. Sear one half and grill the other. You can also eat this raw as sashimi.
The local chefs appear intrigued by the Japanese cooking methods.
Can I add miso and grill it? You can, but that'll be a waste.
Small scale but gradual steps to get people abroad to better understand the quality of Wagyu. Another aim is to promote Japanese food culture. Cattle farmers are also starting to look overseas. This is a massive ranch in Gunma Prefecture with 5,000 cattle.
We raise them here until they're about 28 months.
There's a reason for their focus on export markets. Tsuyoshi Kato has been shipping top-ranked Wagyu, but says differentiation with other products is becoming difficult.
Cattle raising techniques in Japan have improved, and there's a lot of marbled beef on the market. Too much to be consumed domestically. The supply is too big now.
Wagyu is a label given only to cattle raised under strict breeding rules. But with the improvement of breeding techniques, there are now more than 220 cattle brands nationwide jostling for consumers. So now they're seeking out new markets abroad.
There are registration certificates for each cow. Yes.
Each certificate has a muzzle print, similar to a human fingerprint. They say cattle managed under such strict rules can command high prices overseas.
We're confident that once our meat reaches the export market, consumers will try it.
As the domestic market shrinks, Zeno is exploring ways to expand exports. The EU is another huge market in their sights.
We're hoping to start exports to the EU soon.
They expect final authorization for their factories to be granted in the near future.
The appetite for high-end Wagyu in Japan will undoubtedly shrink. The three key markets will be the US, Hong Kong, and Southeast Asia, centered on Singapore. Also, the EU.
With beef a major sticking point in the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade talks, will Wagyu lead the way for Japanese farmers?
Well, with the growing interest in Japanese food around the world, I hope that more people will get a chance to try Japanese Wagyu. And now our next topic is vacant homes
Yes, you're right. Now, first let me show you a graph over here. As you can see, the number of vacant or abandoned homes has been on the rise in recent years. And in the latest year for which data is available, there were 7 million across the country, which is roughly equivalent to 1 in 7 homes.
That's quite a big number, isn't it? So where are they concentrated mostly?
Well, we have a map that shows the percentage of vacant homes in different regions, and there's a clear difference between major cities and prefectural regions. So while the vacancy rate in Tokyo and surrounding areas is about 10%, outlying prefectures like Yamanashi, Nagano and Wakayama, these red areas, it can see rates of over 16%. And it's partly attributed to the prolonged downturn in local economies, plus the subsequent outflow of young people into bigger cities.
I see. So you know that many of those places are struggling when you see shopping arcades and stores shuttered and homes boarded up.
Yes, you're right. And that's a situation you see in many places. So now there are moves to better utilize these unused properties as a way to rebuild and revitalize the local cities. And the key is back streets, so take a look.
Nagano Prefecture, a stone's throw from Zenko Temple. The arcade to the temple grounds is packed with tourists. Just off it, on a back street, a certain change has been afoot. An old structure that draws in passers-by. A pizza place, popular for its pies baked in a stone oven. The small restaurant quickly fills up after opening time, just before noon. It was opened 2 years ago by a local who left and returned to the area.
Rents on the main arcade are high. And a lot of nice shops have opened up around here.
Next door is a cake shop. They also set up in a previously vacant home 2 years ago. And a few steps down the street is a structure that at first glance appears to be another old and vacant property. It's, in fact, a bakery. Opened last year, they operate out of a former metal shop and have a small cafe where customers can sit and relax.
When we were walking down the street, we saw a couple of shops. They're all very nice.
This street is not only easily accessible, but also offers rental fees a third of the main arcade. It's a mountain of hidden treasures. The population of central Nagano City has shrunk to 2/3 of what it was 30 years ago. Many people and businesses have moved to the suburbs, hollowing out the local economy. But in recent years, they've been gradually coming back. The town has long been known for its wholesale merchants, running businesses out of these row houses on the back street. Many are now unoccupied. Specializing in these properties is Tomonori Kuraishi, who set up a real estate agency in the neighborhood 4 years ago.
You'll see many interesting structures walking on these back streets. This used to be an inn, although it's vacant now.
He walks along the streets looking for empty homes and negotiating with the owners. In addition to the low rent, there are relatively few restrictions on renovations. Mr. Kuraishi has handled 46 in the vicinity of Zenko Temple so far. He says the number of contracts has grown every year.
It's kind of surprising that if marketed right, there are people who want to rent these properties to do business. There are many vacant homes, so it's good to have a service to introduce ways to utilize them.
Late April. A newly renovated multi-tenant building that Mr. Kuraishi was involved with had its grand opening.
It's retro and cute.
Formerly a stationery wholesaler, it now has a cafe on the first floor. offices on the second, and a residential space on the top floor. Shops aren't the only new arrivals. Asobism, a Tokyo-based developer of social games, set up its Nagano branch here in February. Their offices are in an abandoned inn. The company felt that the well-developed infrastructure of the area made it an ideal location to set up a branch.
Nagano is only an hour and a half on the Shinkansen from Tokyo, so it's not far. We wanted to start in a place that had rustic structures and a vibrant local community.
The use of vacant properties is spreading nationwide.
It's happening especially in prefectural cities and expanding every year. There's a much bigger opportunity to renovate properties and revitalize these areas compared to places that didn't originally have residential spaces.
The Land and Infrastructure Ministry this March. They also started promoting the use of low-cost vacant properties.
We want to promote the effective utilization of vacant properties in line with the available stock of a compact city. There are a lot of unused properties that even the owners don't know what to do with.
The ministry is now proposing a new type of rental contract that makes it easier for tenants to carry out renovations. Utsunomiya, Tochigi Prefecture. Here too, life is returning to the back streets. On this day, discussions are being held on the opening of a new shop in an abandoned property. Masayuki Shibata is planning to set up a beauty salon here this June.
This is the view outside when customers are getting their hair done. So you can install some blinds.
The reason for choosing this place?
I've been hearing for the past 2 or 3 years that Momiji Street is the place to be. So, I was hoping to open a shop here.
Momiji Street is about a 10-minute walk from the bustling main road and department store. 12 new shops have set up here in the past 4 years.
It's our first time here, but there are all kinds of shops, so we want to come again.
We spoke to the owner of a shop that's been in business for over a century.
There used to be a snack cellar, and beyond that, a drugstore and an electric store. The street was lined with businesses.
Originally, about 20 shops were on this street. But they began leaving from about 30 years ago. And in 2007, the local store association was disbanded. Asked about the recent situation.
I think it's good. It's like a young people's town.
Vira's Studio is a realtor that handles these properties. They moved from the main road to Momiji Street 4 years ago.
The rent was high, so we looked around the area and found a place where the rent was drastically lower. And this was it.
Old properties are left as they are and promoted on the website for their retro feel.
Any building can be renovated and reborn. We believe vacant properties are a crucial element in helping neighborhoods and localities climb up a step in the market.
Vacant properties on back streets, abandoned and forgotten. They may hold the key to revitalizing regional cities.
Well, when a shop is on a back street that rather than the main strip, it definitely gives the impression of being a place that's exclusive and special for yourself.
I agree. They say some shops even prefer to be tucked away on a back street and cater to a small group of dedicated customers rather than appealing to the masses.
Very interesting way to do a business, isn't it? Well, after the break, we bring you an episode of Takumi.
SMBC Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation.
Myanmar. Red. United. 세가의 조선. Passion. Spirit.次の 프리미엄 필드.
Hey, look at this. They're building a huge steel plant with Kobelco technology.
Kobelco? Never heard of it.
It's Japanese. They can make iron with incredible speed. What once took 8 hours can be done in just 10 minutes.
Wow, the Japanese are incredible. The country of karate.
Ha! 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 Karate has nothing to do with it.
True. The talk of the world. Kobelco.
Sasuke, a new type of sports entertainment program conquering the world.
It's about human achievement and people's passions, and I think that relates to almost everybody.
From Japan to the world, Ninja Warrior, Tokyo Broadcasting System.
You're watching Channel Japan. Next, we bring you a segment called Takumi from Science View, a program produced by NHK that introduces the latest developments in science and technology in Japan.
Yes, now Takumi literally means artisan in Japanese, and it's a word often used to describe a person with exceptional skill in a certain craft, a master technician, you might say.
So, what kind of artisan are we meeting today?
Yes, our Takumi this time is a craftsman of light ducts, which we have a picture of over here. It's used to channel natural sunlight throughout a room.
What are the benefits of this?
Well, it's a technique of capturing as much light as possible, which results in a significant reduction in electricity usage.
So, how is this special?
Well, it may appear to be pretty simple on the surface, but it's actually packed with the Takumi's innovations and as well as pursuit of craftsmanship. So, take a look.
Today, I would like to introduce you to an innovative energy-saving technology. Good morning. Today's Takumi is Hideo Arai. He has created an innovative energy-saving lighting system. What kind of lighting is it?
Oh, here it is.
This?
Yes.
At a glance, it looks like ordinary lighting.
It's actually sunlight.
This isn't artificial lighting? To my surprise, it was lighting using sunlight. Let's find out how it works.
Well, this way to the entrance.
sunlight enters the ducts on the roof. This is called a mirror duct system. It's a technique that guides the sunlight into a building. The mechanism is simple. Light is reflected through ducts and shone down from the ceiling. The inside of the ducts are completely covered with a highly reflective mirror made in Germany. Light reflected using this mirror loses less luminosity than with a standard mirror, which means that it can be reflected more times. The mirror duct system is already used in many buildings. For example, in this building, 72 mirror ducts are set up to light 6 floors. It cuts electricity costs by 25% every year. Arai's company didn't originally manufacture anything. It was a metal wholesaler. But Arai had a strong desire to manufacture something, so he started on designing the mirror duct system. He knew that the day would come when environmentally friendly products would be in demand.
It's like playing. You fiddle and play with things, and among those things you will find something that really catches your attention. That's how I got started.
In 1997, Arai had completed his invention. The Okinawa prefectural government ordered the mirror duct system for its underground elevator hall. But an unexpected problem arose. Up until then, Arai had only ever produced straight ducts. But for this project, he needed to create a duct that turned sharply at a 90-degree angle. Arai came up with an idea: to place a mirror at 45 degrees at the corner of the 90-degree turn. Trials were done again and again, but the light coming out was dimmed. Compared to a straight duct, the difference was obvious. After some investigation, they found that depending on the angle the light entered the duct, some of it would reflect off the mirror back out the direction it came in. So Arai looked for a solution by running computer simulations. The answer he found was to create a curved mirror. When he tried it, the results were phenomenal. A curved mirror allowed the light to travel further into the building without losing luminosity.
The moment the light came through, I cried. It was really a moving moment. First, you start being creative. That is the most fun part. You have to focus on the tiny details that most people overlook. Then you use your know-how to move on to the next step. That's the part of the process that I can't tear myself away from.
I see. Well, his focus on spotting the little things that are overlooked by others and adding his own expertise to find a solution is a stance that's important, I guess, in any kind of business.
Absolutely. Business ideas do often come from things that seem common or mundane.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Channel Japan. We have much more in store for you, so join us again next week.
Sou uma pessoa comum. Eu gosto de apreciar todos os momentos do meu dia. Quanto isso pode me motivar? Como eu posso me manter focada? Tudo ao meu redor, incluindo os momentos do meu dia a dia, é o que eu preciso para me concentrar para a minha luta de 90 minutos. Quero dar esperança às pessoas. A better life, a better world.
Panasonic.
As the future evolves, Toyota is envisioning a more interconnected life where information and energy flow seamlessly throughout the globe. The road ahead will require diverse and eco-friendly mobility solutions. It is on this path that our small choices lead to big changes. Life. Connected. Toyota.
Why does the world need a new weekly publication covering Asian business?
Because there are stories in Asia that are yet to be told. Stories that will transform the way we do business and the way we live. There are stories that are only told to locals, stories that cross borders, stories that connect one side of Asia to another, in ways that are not always obvious.
We're here to tell those stories.
See what others don't. Introducing Nikkei Asian Review.
Channel Japan. Your source for the voices and views of people and businesses across Japan. The latest reports on Japanese companies, culture, and technology. Find out what's happening on the ground. Every week, direct from Tokyo, Channel Japan.